Hi, Ina. It's nice to see you today.
Hi, Lindsay. It's nice to see you too.
Thank you so much for joining us for our Hired on Handshake campaign. I know that you have so many exciting things to share with students and for prospective students. And congratulations on your offer with Deloitte. As you can see in Ina's background, she is now a member of the Deloitte team, which we'll discuss a little further too. But we're really excited to have you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Of course, of course. So let me just give an introduction to everyone about you. Ina Patrice Gonzales just received an offer with Deloitte, and she is going to be an advisory analyst in Deloitte's Accounting and Internal Controls Department. She just recently graduated, so congrats, 2021 grad. She majored in mathematics and computer and information science, and her minor was in business administration. She was involved in many clubs and was a leader in multiple clubs at Fordham, a few being the Fordham University Philippine American Club, the Computer Science Society, the Asian American Pacific Islander Committee, and the Women's Herstory Month Committee. Her interests are fitness, triathlons, music. She plays a few instruments, and writing. And a fun fact about Ina is she trains and competes in local triathlons every year. And Ina is currently training for 2 triathlons next year, which good luck with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't mind, Ina, we'll kind of kick it off with just sharing your time at Fordham with some of the students and maybe some alumni that may be watching this chat. So if you don't mind, we'll kind of dive right in. And if you don't mind, we'll talk about Handshake. So how did you use Handshake during your time at Fordham?
Yeah, so I was on Handshake probably every single morning when I woke up, just looking at different events that Career Services was holding, or like looking up any job postings, because I know throughout my 4 years I was always hunting for a full-time job after college or any internships. So I was always applying to jobs and looking at campus events there.
Wonderful. And that's really great advice to share. It's not just like to utilize for posting job postings or internships and applying, but also, all of the events, the career fairs, the prep sessions that we host. And a lot of companies too will put on the events page. So that's really great to share. Thanks. How did you utilize Career Services specifically as a student?
So I know Career Services hosted multiple networking sessions and career fairs, and there was a lot of resume help, which really helped me prepare for any interviews that I had, or just look over my resume, because I was always updating it with anything new that I could put in. Mm-hmm. I know specifically the career fair, my junior year, is how I ended up getting one of my internships while I was in school still. So it was a really good stepping stone of just figuring out how to market yourself as like a candidate for any jobs or anything like that.
Awesome. Really awesome. And we also have on Handshake, the Career Services team offers career counseling too. So you can book your appointment. And that's what Ina had mentioned too, with resume help. So that's like one-on-one sessions in addition to like group prep sessions that we offer. Ina, what internships did you have as a student, and did they help prepare you for your career now?
Yeah, so going back to the career fair, that's actually how I ended up getting this internship. So my senior year, well, first of all, my junior year, I got an offer from Con Edison of New York, the energy company, for a co-op. It was going to be from March 2020 up until December 2020, but then COVID happened, so it got postponed, and I ended up doing it my senior year from March till May till I graduated. And that was such a good experience that I'm so happy that I had while I was at school, because now that I started working, a lot of the tools that I used in that internship I'm actually using now. So like Microsoft Outlook, I've never looked at Outlook before. I have a Mac. I just had no idea what I was doing there. There's a lot of like Slack we used, and just getting comfortable with being in a professional environment is something that I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't go to the career fair.
Oh, we love to hear that. But I know that you've worked really hard too in getting there. So it's well deserved on your part. Kind of segueing into the next question in alignment with your previous internships and now your full-time offer. What are some skills and experience that you would say are most important to have in your field as it relates to, advisory and being an analyst?
Yeah, so I really think logical thinking is something that I have to use every single day, just seeing like the workflow of things. I analyze a lot of data, so having a lot of, I guess, perception for any details is very important too, because there's always a spelling error or like if something's wrong, then you have to talk to somebody about it. And then also having some confidence in what you looked at and being able to ask your like managers or anyone higher up for help is something that I found really important because like coming right out of college, you never really had I guess experience like full-time working, so just being out there and asking as many questions as you need is really important as well.
That is really great advice.
I've asked so many questions to my teachers the past few days. So like just getting out there, they're always there to help you and they want you to excel.
Right. And in order to become a professional similar to someone in their shoes, I'm sure they did the same and they're willing to help you. And the fact that you're thorough and, want to know more, I'm sure makes you stand out. Yeah. Now, kind of segueing into my next question about standing out, what do you think helped you or helps, a student stand out in an interview process?
Yeah, so I've gone through so many interviews at this point. But the one thing that like every interviewer was very impressed like by when I was interviewing with them was that I had information from their company. Like I was like, oh, Con Edison was founded in like 1832 or something. That's not the actual one, but like having just knowing a lot about the company shows that you're very interested. And then another tip that we might talk about later is I looked up the Deloitte's fiscal year annual report, and I had all the numbers from there too. So once I came into the interview, I was like, oh, they made a this much this year, and there's like this strategy and everything like that. So just showing that you're really involved and you really want to learn more about the company is very important. And then also not stressing out. Usually when interviewers are interviewing you, they want to pick somebody who they can work with. So if you show off your personality, that you're fun and you like to talk about other things that aren't just work, it'll really give you a leg up in the process.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. And I always tell students, follow the company on LinkedIn. There's a lot of updates posted on their pages or even on the website. Because, big things can happen in the market overnight. So it's really important to be aware and just stay on top of, all that information, the up-to-date stats. So great advice to students. Now, kind of segueing, if you don't mind, into your time at Fordham. I'd really like for you to share, what classes you enjoyed the most. It doesn't even need to relate to your current, job offer or any internships. But what's your take on, some classes that you would recommend?
Yeah, so since I was math and computer science, I was obviously very involved with all the math and programming classes, and I thought that was very helpful in what I do now. And also because technology is everywhere. Obviously, we're doing this interview on Zoom right now. So I really think like everybody should take at least one programming class. And that one for me, which anybody could take, is for Python programming. Just getting the feel of it. So like if you ever see any code, or now that you've taken a Python class and you add that to your resume, you might get more responses from companies. And then also, I didn't actually take this class, but I did TA for it because for like the Zoom TA. It was business communications too. And that class had so many resume tips and like just like business practice advice. And I feel like if you can take a class like that, take that. or even ground floor, which I took for my business minor. That one just exposed me to all these different industries because at the time I had no idea what I was doing. So just getting exposed to different areas of business or like the professional world was very important for me in my growth at Fordham and where I am now.
Awesome. And now I know in previous conversations that you and I have had, you had expressed that you feel as though club leadership and involvement and your experience at Fordham has contributed to your success. Do you mind just, listing a few of your leadership positions and some of the clubs that you were specifically involved with?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of them. I was very involved. I just really wanted to get out there. Freshman year was kind of hard for me, moving home, getting used to the workload and everything. So I threw myself in all these clubs and I ended up taking some leadership roles in them. So I was president of FUPAC, which is the Fordham University Philippine American Club. I loved FUPAC. I think was the biggest experience that impacted my career now, because I got to experience working with so many different people, organizing different teams and trying to get tasks accomplished. I guess like some things that I did as president, we raised like over $10,000 for charity. We won multiple, we would do like Philippine pageants,
Cool.
cultural shows. We won a couple of those, and that was insane for FUPAC because Fordham's FUPAC wasn't as big in the competition scene until we started getting out there. But yeah, so FUPAC, I was president of that. Computer Science Society, I was vice president of that my senior year. And then that also helped me with a lot of interview help because I was looking for software engineering roles, and a lot of alumni who were in computer science would come back and talk to us. So I would help in organizing those events as well. So just getting to talk to them about what they do day to day really gave me some insight on what I wanted to do in the future. And then also I was in Asian American Pacific Islander Committee and Women's Herstory Month Committee. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And I know too, as you said, in the Computer Science Society, I think it was your junior year, you were the public relations director, and then your senior year, you became vice president. So I think also just having, even if a student wants to be a member, that's awesome too, but also just knowing that there is a pipeline or an opportunity rather to move up in, quote unquote, the rankings of, leadership in a club. And it's really just having that first initial step of just becoming a member, right?
Yeah, and like specifically for Computer Science Society, when I joined the club, I was pre-health. I wasn't even computer science major or anything. I had no idea what programming was, but I just went because they were like, oh, like we're looking for different e-board members and people to join. We're restarting the club. And I was like, I'll just go for fun. And then I ended up liking it so much that I became public relations director and then vice president.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So congrats on all of that. I'm sure it was memorable for you, especially the pageant.
Yes.
Kind of moving back into industry specific questions and a little bit more about Deloitte. What experience would you have, or advice, based on your experience for other Fordham students looking to follow the same career path?
I would say don't feel that bad when companies reject you or if they say no. Mm-hmm. I've received like over 200 rejections before I got a job offer. So just having that tenacity to just keep applying, keep practicing your interview skills, getting help from other professionals or going to career services is really important, because one day someone's going to say yes. You just don't know when that day is. So there's always that hope at the end of the tunnel whenever. Yeah. I mean, if it happened to me, it can happen to you.
It's great advice. And it's, the persistence and staying positive, because, it can be a challenging a task. It's like it becomes a full-time job after graduation practically and applying. But like you said, it could be the 101 that, finally you get the offer. So great advice. Why your major specifically? Because I know that you said you were pre-health, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I was pre-health. I was not happy in pre-health. I came into Fordham a biology major. I was on the pre-health track. My whole entire life, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. This is what I'm going to do. No, I don't even care about anything else. I want to be a doctor. And then actually coming into Fordham, and I was like, I don't really like this. I need to reevaluate what I'm doing right now. So then I enrolled in different classes, which is why I said before that just taking classes that don't really pertain to like your major, or like just finding something that's just interesting to you is really important to get out there.
Mhm.
So I was kind of lost for a bit my freshman year, and then I took a math class, decided I like math, and then I took a computer science class because they're kind of intertwined.
Mhm.
Um, and then I was like, wow, I love programming. And then I was like, oh, I also want to get into business because I feel like having a tech background and a business background would be very lucrative once looking for jobs. Um, and then I ended up having a business admin minor. So I kind of just tried different things until I
Yeah.
liked what I and just stuck with it.
I think that gives a lot of students hope, or even alumni on this call hope, because it's like you felt the puzzle pieces kind of fall together, and then it just all felt right, So I'm sure that many current students, or even prospective students coming in, that it gives them a lot of hope. So thanks for sharing that. Now, specifically about Deloitte, what did you do to help prepare for your interview with Deloitte, in general, too?
So I made a Google Doc first, and I named it Deloitte, and then I put the little title of what I was interviewing for. So I went to that Google Doc, and then I looked up the company's financial report. And then in that report, it said literally everything about the company, like when it was founded, and then it went into what values they had. And I know one of the values that I was really interested in, or really happy that they had, was diversity and inclusion. As someone who was in FUPAC, I'm very proud of my culture and like have participating in different diverse events. So that was one thing that I looked at. And then I also looked on Glassdoor, and I looked up reviews of Deloitte, and then if anybody had any interview experience. But I also looked that up on Google. So like looking up interview questions, and then Deloitte actually also had sample interview questions as well on their actual website. So I just read through that. I took notes, and then I just put that all in a Google Doc, and 10 minutes, 20 minutes before the interview, I just read through the whole thing. And
Awesome.
yeah, that was it.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, why Deloitte specifically?
Yeah, so going back to the diversity thing, that's something I'm very passionate about, having different cultures, different people in one place celebrated for like their diversity is something that I really liked. And then also when I looked at jobs, I was looking for companies that had benefits, having like healthcare benefits, vision, and stuff like that. And Deloitte had very good benefits. And then they just had such a great professional reputation. So I was like, wow, this seems like such a great company. All the reviews and the financial reports, they all were positive. And I was like, wow, I really hope I get this job. And then I did.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that too. I just have two more questions and then we'll wrap up. What does your job entail, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you the official title. So I'm in the risk and financial advisory section of Deloitte, but then within that section, there's like multiple subsections. So I'm in their accounting and internal controls offering portfolio. And then within that, I'm in IT and specialized assurance. So basically, all of those words mean that I do external audits for financial companies. And if anyone doesn't know what that is, basically, but I've just started like a month ago. So this is what I've been doing right now. That's all the experience I have. But I test financial companies' IT controls. So if there's like an application, for example, like Zoom, you have to sign in, and some users have different access to like Fordham's database, and they have different controls, like, oh, this is a manager. So I just check those controls. Like who can sign in, who has access to what application. And that's what I do all day. I just test controls and talk to my manager.
That sounds really awesome and very important and crucial to a company's security. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that. My last question to you, and then feel free if you want to add anything else too, but what are your career goals? Because I'm sure that students that current students or prospective students, alumni that are in the same path as you are curious to know, like, where do you envision yourself going?
Yeah, so I had to think a little bit about this because when I was at Fordham, my career goal was getting a job. So now I actually have one. I had to kind of switch my perspective on what I want to do in the future. I want to just get as much knowledge as I can about the professional world. It's my first year in it, really like fully in it. So I just want to ask as many questions, find out as many things as I can. And then hopefully I will be working my way into some project management roles, specifically with either software or application development or somewhere in external audit, which something I've never done before until this month, but I really like so far.
Awesome. That's so great. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been super helpful. It's been really exciting to hear about your story at Fordham, your story after Fordham, and now you're even like critically thinking into your future at Deloitte, and within your role. So I'm really excited for you. We cannot thank you enough for your time today. Is there anything else that you just wanted to plug in or add for students to be aware
of? Just keep a positive attitude, study hard. Whatever you do, you'll end up where you're supposed to be, even if it feels like everything's hopeless. So that's what I want to leave everyone with.
I love that advice. It's persistence, right, is the key. And, staying positive. And like we just said before, it could be the 101, interview that you go on and then you finally nail it. So thank you so much. We will be posting this information online on our career services site. We are so thankful for your time and very excited for you and your future at Deloitte. So thank you so much, Ina, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I'm so happy and grateful to have been a part of this.
Of course. Bye, Ina.
All right, bye.